Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kit.
My name is Judy Njogu.
And we appreciate your presence here. Thank you so much for coming back and listening in. And we hope you get something from this podcast. We are here to entertain, teach, learn from you guys, and all that good stuff.
We are here to share our perspective in life in many topics.
Yeah, as a mother and daughter.
Yes.
So for today's topic, really, it's a question we've been getting a lot. Like, how do I forgive my parent? Should I forgive my parent? And also I came across this.
It's time that we forgive our parents, because the truth is that they did the best that they could with what they had. And I know it's not fair, and I know that you were alone, and I know that they should have fucking been there. And it wasn't fair what happened to you. But life is not about being fair. Life is about taking what you have and transcending it. And now, you're not that little kid anymore. You have yourself. And carrying that baggage, that wound, even though it might feel good, like in a way, by being angry and holding this resentment, it's like you're punishing them for all the hurt that they caused. But you're only punishing yourself. You're really, ultimately, just punishing yourself. And keeping that little girl or little boy trapped in a cycle of reliving over and over and over the trauma, the abandonment, the hurt. So set yourself free and just make the choice, because forgiveness is just choosing. That's it. It's just, I forgive them. They only did what they had, only did what they knew what to do with what they got. And I'm not a victim. Fuck that shit. I get to be here for me now. And I don't deserve to be angry and reliving the past anymore. We forgive our parents in 2023. So that our kids can grow up with healed parents. And we can save the collective by stopping the generational trauma. Now it stops with me, bro. Like, it's done. Oh.
What are your thoughts, Mother, on that TikTok?
It speaks a lot of sense. But for me, as I've been researching about forgiveness and all that, I've never actually thought about it. But I've been listening to people saying, not only our parents, but you need to forgive people who have done you wrong, because it sets you free. It's for your own good. But then anytime you do that and then you meet these people and they continue doing some things that are very
The same thing.
shady, or they're even wondering why you're forgiving them in the first place, then it takes you back to the hole you are in. But I guess what everybody says is that once you forgive others, it's not for them. You don't even have to tell them that you forgive them. You just forgive them from your heart, and you find it in your heart to move on.
Yeah, I think the thing about forgiveness, what most people don't usually get about it, is it's not really about the other person. It's about you. You're forgiving them for you, not for them. It's all about you. And one of the reasons why you should, like, even as a child, you should be thinking about forgiveness right now is because that resentment kind of holds you back in time. You are still that child. You're still going through those traumas, like she said. It's like you have not moved on completely. You'll still have that pain. You'll still be that little child who thinks, my mom did this and this, my dad did this and this. So you are basically just freezing yourself in time. You're clinging on to a bad part of your life. It's just like when you're having a grudge with somebody. The person who gets hurt the most is the person who is holding the grudge, because you keep replaying the situation, you keep thinking about that situation. So you never really move on. If you hold a grudge with somebody, you never move on. And then as I was doing some of my research, I came past this article. I don't remember where it was from, but it said to forgive is not to condone the bad things our parents have done. It's not to deny their selfishness, their rejections, their meanness, their brutality, or any of the other misdeeds or character flaws or limitations that may attach to them. It's important to separate from our parents. It's important to separate from our parents, which is to stop seeing ourselves as children who depend on them for our emotional well-being, to stop being their victims, to recognize that we are adults with the same capacity to shape our own lives and the responsibility to do so. What do you think about that?
It's actually yesterday I met someone. It's weird because we met in a bar. And they were like, "Oh my God, I love your podcast and all that." She's Indian. So she tells me, by the way, you know what you are speaking, the things you talk about and our parents bringing us in a certain way. I shared this podcast with my age mates and friends and they are like, "Oh my God, even us, like there's a way our parents expected us to behave, to wear, my way or the highway." So it's like it's a certain generation, like my mom's generation and our generation. Everyone who speaks, they speak in the same language. It happened maybe in different ways, but it happened
to most people.
It almost, someone has something to say about how they were brought up. I think nobody is perfect to bring anyone up anyway, who knows the 100% way of bringing up a child? Nobody. We're always learning. So I think we need to give grace to our parents just as much as we expect to be given grace by our children. And as you're saying, it's important for us to find it in our heart to heal and to forgive so that we give our children a better life. They deserve a healed parent, a healed grown up in their lives, so that we don't project the same anger and resentment we hold for our parents or whoever, our guardians or people who brought us up. Yeah,
but I also think that as much as most people have gone through similar things with their parents, there are just some things that, of course, I don't think are forgivable.
Some are really extreme.
Like they're really extreme, and we're not here asking you to force yourself to forgive your parents. This is mostly for those who think there's an opportunity to fix their relationship and you really want to move forward. Like we said before, if you want to have a relationship with your parents and you want it to be better, one of the first things you need to do is forgive them so that you're able to move on. So this is for the people who have that opportunity. Some things parents have done, I know fathers who've raped their children. We are definitely not coming here to tell you, oh, forgive them, move past it, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. We don't know what kind of mental toll it took on you and how it affected your life. So we're not telling you what to do. This is for those who have the opportunity. Like for me, I did forgive my dad. I mean, he didn't do all that, all those extreme things. It's just I felt hurt that he was not present, and I felt hurt that he got another child and named the child after me.
Names.
So that was like replacing me. I felt hurt because I could see that he can actually take care of a child. It's not that he
Children.
Children. Actually, children. Seeing that I could have had that, or he was in a position to do that, was very hurtful to me. I was just like, of course, I'd always given him excuses in my mind. I'm like, you know what, maybe it was that time, wasn't able to do this and this. But then I also think of my mom, who was in a worse situation, because that time my dad was working, right?
Yeah.
He would be able to do it if he wanted to, but he chose not to. And I know that really hurt me for such a long time. But I think I actually forgave him last year. I forgave him because some of the choices I was making even in life was in a way to hurt him. I remember the time I was like, I must be, even the reason why I chose to do journalism before I turned to PR was because I wanted to make sure he sees me on TV.
Oh, wow.
I was like, you must see me. You must see that I made it without your help, you must see that I am, I'm thriving. I remember when, but then when I did journalism, I was like, I don't think this is for me. That's why I went into PR. I just started making, I'm like, why am I making a decision for somebody who's not even there, who probably doesn't even care, probably even see me and not even give a damn, And I even remember, even just me as myself as an influencer, having a billboard is a big deal. I think we've all seen Joy Candy with Vaseline. And I remember I was like, even me, I must be on a billboard. He must see me when he's driving somewhere, to see that I'm healthy and thriving without him.
Like that one of Azia, the big one.
Yes, because I've seen the Aziad one in town when we were marching.
It's huge.
It's big. It's big. I
Yeah,
hope
supreme.
she sees that and feels proud, that because that's a very big moment. So I decided to just let go, and I think I actually realized I'd started forgiving him earlier than that, because I cut off all contact. Sometimes forgiving means, you decide you're gonna move on, you don't want any contact with them, and that is good for you. So I decided no contact. I have no contact with my dad, and that was a personal decision for me. Yeah.
Do you think that one day when you'll meet him, you'll be able to talk to him and tell him
I
these
mean,
things, or you've just forgiven
no,
him?
this one I just know there's no helping this situation. There's nothing to talk about, because I can't even imagine myself seated with him speaking to him, because I have had those opportunities where we have been in the same room, we've had an opportunity to talk, but it would be a situation where he's like, "Oh, it's your mom. Oh, it's your mom. Your mom should have, brought you to me. Oh, you don't look for me." Like that accusation. Why
Yeah,
would
yeah.
there's no opportunity for it whatsoever. Mom, with your relationship with Shosh, have you ever felt like resentment or anything like that?
There are several times that I've felt that. And it's funny because even the times I've felt that is where my siblings are involved. Because when I'm just alone and I'm thinking it's just me, mom, nothing much comes to play. But now maybe when I'm with my siblings and I discover things that have happened or are still happening behind my back, and I'm like, I'm still not that important to this person, just like the other siblings are important. But when you're seated with her, she'll say you're important. But, as people say, actions speak louder than words.
Yes, they do.
So anytime, sometimes I even avoid my siblings. I know probably my sis is watching this and my bro, but it's a fact. Anytime I sit with them, some story will come up about mom, or this is what she's doing. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh,
It's not that I
meant
wanted.
you.
It's not that I want to be
But,
given,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
just that other people are given priority up to now, and for me, mostly it's just like, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do this? Why are you doing like this? Why are you living like that? All the time it's negative, negative, negative. But then again, I think I forgave my mom a long time ago. I think I forgave her when I decided to move on. And I decided that if she contacts me, I'm okay. I'm fine. We speak very nicely. I know she'll speak highly of me. With other people, we are okay together. But those hearts inside me and all that, I chose to look past them. And also look at her life. She didn't also live a very, very good life. She had trauma from her shosho, the one called Wairimu after me. It was, if you hear mom's stories, some of them are very, very sad. So I also sit and think about it, and I'm like, she didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And
She
this is the
did what
life she was given.
she could do.
Yeah. She was handed just a very wrong hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had to go and get adopted in another family because her parents were not there for her. My not adopted, my real hooker was one of the most loaded people in Nairobi. He has buildings in Nairobi, which my step cousins and are enjoying and taking care. They're taken well care of. But because maybe of my shoshu and whatever happened with Uka and all that, my mom didn't get part of the
Anything,
inheritance and all that. And we know them. We know they are living a good life. They are thriving. They have big businesses belonging to Uka where mom would have been a part. So I look at it and I'm thinking, probably mom looks at them. She's hiring one of the shops where it's the dad's building. And I'm like, what if it were me? I'd be so resentful.
Yeah.
I'd be so angry.
Yeah.
I'd be looking at my step cousins who we look so much alike, like my real cousins, the ones we share that shosho called Wairimu, biological mom of my mom. We look so, like we are put there together. You're like, it's a family.
Mnaka same.
Like totally. So it's not like they don't know Akina mom and all that. So I think my mom has that, like, what the hell? Why am I suffering and my dad is loaded?
Yeah.
Like people can do something about it if they really wanted it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I try to understand and I'm like,
So you put yourself.
mom has lived a horrible life
Yeah.
as a child, as a teenager, is getting a child very early. Actually, I think she got her firstborn at 16 or something like that. And I'm like, gosh, probably I would have been worse if it's me who lived such a life. So even the life she was giving, she didn't know any better. She was giving what she knows is best.
Yeah. So I think for you also, just being around your siblings and saying that your mom can be a different person is what usually is hurtful.
That is what is hurtful to me, because if I was the only child, I would not know any
Yeah, you would not
difference.
know any difference. You'd just be like, this is how my mom is.
Exactly.
So I totally understand, which I'm very sorry for.
Exactly.
Because for me and Ran, I can't say that there's a difference like that. I know we are both loved. I know my mom is, like there's no, you can't feel that rift between the way you've parented us.
Yeah.
So I do also feel bad if that is what was
So
going on.
that's what I'm saying. Mostly when I meet with my sibling or with my siblings, that's when I realize, like, this has not stopped. It has gone on, and she's capable of changing
Yeah.
if she wanted,
Yeah.
or treating me different. But I'm like, why do I need to be treated different then again? Maybe that is what has made me a stronger person. It's made me maybe work a little extra harder. Yeah. That's what has made me.
I totally get. And I think when it comes to going on the journey of forgiveness, I think sometimes you also have to realize you might never get the apology as well. And this comes just from looking at understanding your parent and seeing them as a person other than a parent, just as
Yeah.
a person,
Yeah.
the way they are. You can just know you're never going to get that apology. I know some of us know I know I'm never going to get an apology from my dad, and I'm okay with it. I've decided to move on from it. And like I said, no contact, nothing, and I'm okay with it. I'm living my life, watu waishi maisha zao venye wanataka. So when you're on this journey, sometimes you just have to accept you might never ever get that apology, and it's okay. You can't force it. Sometimes you just can't force it. But if you've never had an opportunity to discuss these things, it's important to confront your parents. Actually, ask them questions. I know, mom, you've asked Shosh questions sometimes, like, where's my dad, how do I meet him, and all that, blah blah blah. I can confront, like, I can ask, like, there's a time I think I asked mom, how come I was with my Shosh, why was I not with you this time? And you were telling me, I was there looking for work so that I can make sure when you come to stay with me, you're going to be comfortable and you're going to have enough with me, which I totally understand. Of course, at that time, I was like, my mom probably doesn't want me. That's why I'm with my grandma. But now that I'm older and I understand, I'm like, that makes sense. Why would she have me and we are both suffering
Yeah.
together, which is not an ideal situation. Sometimes confronting will make you understand your parents more, will make you understand situations more. And it leads to a better path of forgiveness, for sure.
Sometimes I also think maybe if you spoke to my mom, she would sit and say, Werimo was a difficult child. She was always like this and always like this. There is always two sides of the story.
Yeah.
So for her, maybe the way she viewed me, it's probably a problematic, an extra baggage and all that. So I don't know. All I can say is, Mom, I forgive you. And I hope you forgive me. Because I'm not perfect. I'm not the perfect child. Probably even sitting here and talking about it is
Triggering her.
it's triggering you and you're unhappy about this situation. But it's for my own good and letting go. And I hope you can forgive me for that.
Yeah, but I feel like the part of thinking of whether you are not a good child is also, the only way you'd know is through confrontation. That's the only way. Like asking, was I such a bad child that you could not forgive me and that's why you treat me so differently? Speaking up about such things, because at least it's important to speak. If you don't speak up, it's always going to linger in your mind. You're always going to have those questions, those two doubts. And I don't think you'll ever be able to forgive until you hear from the other person.
But Kate, you need to understand, parents of like my mom's generation, they don't speak about things.
Well, they can be defensive about it, right?
Exactly. And they don't think that they owe you an explanation because you're here, I've done this for you, I've done that for you. So, excuse me, I paid your school fees, I fed you, which they were supposed to do anyway.
Yeah. Like you said, that's
It's not
responsibility.
like that's your responsibility. But the way they view life and the way they view things is very different from the way I view and the way you view things. Yeah. So generations keep changing and people are becoming more enlightened. People are becoming more open. But there's some people who are still stuck in that generation of I'm right, I'm always right, and you have to live by this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to change them that's why at the end of the day, as we've said before, forgiveness is for you.
Yeah, it is for you. It's not really for them.
So
honestly.
forgiveness, even the little I'm still holding, I need to forgive that and move forward for me to free me completely. And also I believe to pray about it so that that generational thing stops with me.
Yeah.
Stops completely, and now
But you see, the thing for me about that, especially what you've said, Mom, you did not have the best upbringing. But as you grew older, you decided that's not going to be me. I'm
Yeah.
going to be different. I'm going to do better. So why can't the others do that?
but you can't force people to
Yeah, of
change,
course,
Kate.
but then that's
you
why I'm
can't
like-
force people to see things the way you see them.
It's not even about seeing things the way I see them. It's just that I know even with me, the way I've grown up, there's an opportunity for me to change. I can change. I can be a better person. I can realize what
change
I
for better.
did was wrong
Yeah.
and apologize or try to fix the situation. I know that as a grown up, I think all of us have that.
Yeah.
So I think some parents just decide no. I'm
And
not
also
gonna
pride. And pride.
They're like, no, but I like the way you already know how Shoshi is. And you decided to forgive her in your own way. You already looked at her past experiences to understand her as not only as a mom, but as a human being and everything she went through, which explains some of the things that she did
Yeah.
that might have hurt you. And also, I think you've also realized you might never get that apology as well.
Yeah.
And you have moved on with that. You're like, you know what? It's fine. You know?
Yeah,
So
I might
you-
never
that-
get that clarification, and it's
so
okay.
I know that's why I'm just like, there are very many different ways. If you can't confront, you might just know you're never gonna get the apology and you decide to move on. Or you can decide to look at the past experiences and put yourself in that position and see this is what the best that they could do, which I also really appreciate. Actually, that's a very good way of, walking in the path of forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I think you actually forgave her a very long time, and that's why your parenting style was very different from hers. I think that actually shows you actually forgive her and decided, what? I'm gonna be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we also need to let go of some of the fantasies that we might have about parents and how parents should be, or the parents should have done this and this. Sometimes, you look at something, you see how another parent is with another child, and you're like, wow,
That's
my parents.
perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's
My
how it should
parents,
be.
yeah, this is how I should have been raised. Or you watch a movie, you're like, oh, the mom is always present, oh, the father is always present, but they're probably that's acting. That's a movie.
Circumstances are very different from one
Very
person to
different.
the
Even
other.
if it's real life, the circumstances are very different. Maybe these are trust fund babies. They are now parents. Of course, they're being provided for everything. They're gonna be there for you all the time. Some of us, our parents, have to work for a living. They have to make sure that other than providing love, they have to provide food, shelter, and all that, and that can be a lot. So sometimes just let go of that fantasy. Your parent is not going to be like Baba Nani. Your mom is not going to be like Ati Mama Nani. Your mom is who she is. Your dad is who she is. Let go of the fantasies. Accept them for who they are, and then you can be able to forgive and move on. Not someone, Ati, if we die and you're able to choose a parent, who would you choose? So many people would choose very different people who they have seen on TV or musicians or stuff like that.
Beyonce.
It's not gonna happen, babes. It's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Those are the parents that you have. You better find a way to live with them or cut them off, whichever way. But just let go of that fantasy. Did you used to have such fantasies, Mom?
Imagine never.
I wish my mom was like Mama Nani, Mama.
I never
Hata
had
hukuwa na
those.
hiyo time ya kufikiria.
I didn't have time to think. I had to think of myself. I've never had that. That maybe.
Oh, me, I had. I
But I've
definitely.
had a fantasy of like if I was born in a different country.
Oh, I know. Those ones I think most of us usually have.
Yeah, but not to different parents. No.
Me, I've had fantasies of how my dad should have been or could have been. Those ones I definitely had, but I'm so happy I let go of them, and I saw it's, it's not realistic for me. It's never gonna happen, because I had so many friends who their dads are still present and doing this and this. Oh, dad, I need to do this project. Maybe the dad might fund it, or the dad is just there. The fact that he's there
It's available.
is available. So those are some of the fantasies I had. But then nikajua, hey,
No one's coming to save you.
no one is coming for me. I think another way of, entering into this journey of forgiveness is actually acknowledging that you might have trauma. But I think that most of us actually do have trauma. I feel like our inner child still needs to be looked at, looked after. Like, you have to look deep inside at your inner child and try to fix that. And there's so many ways you can do that. For me, I usually do therapy. I know some people, it's not that deep, so they can just do a hobby that they used to like as a child. Sometimes it can also be the way you speak to yourself. Sometimes the way your parent will speak to you stays with you forever. You speak to yourself that way. You speak to others that way. So you can be more gentle to the way you speak to yourself. Listen to yourself. You realize you need to do this and this, or you made a mistake. So you speak to yourself gently and be like, "Haya, tuko kwa ka meeting. You did this and this. How are we gonna fix this and this?" Usijikeme. Don't be so hard on yourself like your parent might have been. But I feel like, Mom, do you speak to yourself like the way you you used to be spoken to? You speak to yourself gently.
I don't speak to myself.
Yeah.
I'll start.
You don't speak to yourself?
The thing I've learned lately is those words of affirmation. Every morning I wake up and I'm like, I look at myself in the mirror. But this is a fact. I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, damn. Damn.
I'm this. I am beautiful. I am strong.
I don't even need to say all that. I'm just like, well.
Yeah, but that's actually speaking to yourself, Mom. I don't mean actually just at you.
I've started that recently.
Unajiongelesha. I mean just the way you view yourself.
I've started that recently, and it gives me motisha in the morning.
For the day, you're able to,
I'm this person.
Oh,
and I'm awesome. Yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations, Mom.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think basically just paying attention to the things you felt that were neglected. You can pay attention to. Those small things you felt like, they were not listened to, they were not looked after. Now this is your chance to actually pay attention to them. Is this something you used to do, Mom? But for me, you were good.
Kati,
bano, kalongolongo. I don't do those. I don't.
What else?
Those. I think that's why even for that generation, we used to stay outside a lot. You don't want to go home. You don't go home and stay with your parents.
No way.
You'll probably have done, utaanza kushautiwa umefanya kitu na hata ujui kenye umefanya. You just want to stay out with your friends, play and enjoy. Ran will never know that. Ran tu ni games. Hakuna kalongolongo, kati, bano, kununua chips za 5 bob, 10 bob, bajia. Hey, good times. Those were good times.
There's a therapist that was brought at my workplace, which I really appreciated. And I remember she made us sit on those bean bags, not bag beans. And then you close your eyes and you try to remember the things that were done to you that still trigger you. And then, since you're not getting that forgiveness from the parent, most people, it's actually from parents, and that was amazing. Everyone had a story to say about their parent, like, this was done to me when I was a child, this happened with my uncle, I was exposed to these people by my parents, a lot of stories. And she said, the best thing you can do is just close your eyes and go back to a familiar room. You remember, like a familiar space when you were younger. Like, there's always that space you'll remember, either the sitting area, either the bedroom, the outside area, maybe where you are alone and crying and worried. And then you imagine you're in another dimension as a grown-up now, and you want to speak to your younger self and reach out to that younger self, hold their hands, hug them and tell them, don't worry, I'm here for you. I'll always be here for you. We've made it so far. You can't see it now, but you're going to see, because now you're speaking to yourself in another dimension. And it helped so much. Everybody was crying by the end of it. Because, like, as you're saying, no one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself.
Yeah.
So you also have to try. I know it sounds crazy, but I think that really helped, especially me. Reach out to yourself in that, like you're from the
In that
future. Right now you're in the
moment,
future. But you go back and reach out to yourself when you're alone, when you are younger, and these things are happening to you, and just be like, I got you. Because you're the only one who got you like 100%.
It's true. I remember when my therapist told me that the first time that we went through therapy, and she's asking me about my life and all that, and then she's like, you have been in survival mode for such a long time that you have neglected your inner child. You're trying to cover up and forget it, but she shows up in certain ways.
So many ways.
And some of the ways that you handle situations, you're still acting like that child at that time in that situation. So she's like, you have to look inside, look back at that girl, that young girl, look at her, speak to her, realize, accept actually everything that happened, and then try to move on from that, try to reconcile that so that you're able to move from that. But I also do realize that our forgiveness stories are never going to be the same. Our forgiveness journeys are not going to be the same. The more you are hurt, the more difficult the process is going to be, and that's for sure. The more difficult it's going to be.
And we're also different, so we forgive and handle things in different ways.
We handle them in very different ways. But at the end of the day, I know people usually say, that is your parent, you must do and this and this and this. Just do what is best for you. You don't need to, don't follow societal needs, or you must be there, you cannot cut off your parents, you cannot do this and this and this. No one knows what you went through. No one knows how deeply you are hurt except from you. So it's up to you to figure out if you're going to go on this journey of forgiveness or not. It's up to you to know whether you're actually ready to do it as well. You don't have to, because you to scare to now you wake up and say, you know what, I have to do it now. It's going to be a long process. Just look within, realize the hurt that you've had, realize that you're kind of also holding yourself back by still holding this resentment. If you are planning to be a parent, you're not going to be a good parent if you do not look back and figure out those issues. You're going to be like your mom. Sometimes you're just like, I'm going to be a better I'm going to be a better mom. You're going to be the same exact copy paste, because you have not resolved, all those issues. And even if you're not like a new mom, just for yourself as a person, it's going to be, once you're on this process, it's going to be amazing how much you're going to change as a person as well. You're going to see yourself like a different person as well. You're going to be a different person to, people around you. So forgiveness is important. Just know forgiveness is for you mostly. It's not about your parents, You have so many ways of going through it. There's no like a kitabu that says you must. Just do what's best for you actually. Any last remarks, ma'am?
It's just that we're talking about parents, but I think it also works the same, like forgiving your friends also.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And also just made me realize it's just, do for others what you'd want
them to
done
do
for
to
you. At the end of the day, we're also going to be parents. There's no book that says this is how you're a perfect parent. You're probably also going to hurt your child one way or another. So, of course, I know most of us that's not what we wish for, but it might happen. You never know. It might happen.
Yeah.
So,
because things change.
Yeah. Let's just do that, so that at least even for our children, we let that door open, that they'd be able to, come and confront you about it later on in life, come and speak to you about the things that they didn't like, and then you can be able also to explain. So it's just, giving grace as well to parents. We need to give our parents a lot of grace, especially because we also don't know most of their lives. We don't know their past experiences. And they never tell us everything. I know for a fact my mom does not tell me everything. I'm sure there are other worse things that she keeps. But, let's give grace. Let's do unto others what we want to do with them. Christians, maandiko kwa Bible. Forgiveness. Forgiveness, but it's mostly for you. And we're not perfect. I don't think anyone is perfect that we can decide to hold this against another person, especially for those who are Christians. God has forgiven us for so many things that we have done over and over, that we continue to do, that we will continue to do, but He still forgives us,
You're told forgive 77 times 77, ama it's 99
kuna watu
times 99.
wameshapita hizo.
Kuna
Mtu amepita hiyo. Kuna mtu.
Like the Bible says, forgiveness is endless. I know it's easier said than done.
Yeah, definitely.
But you can find it in your heart to do it. And my last remark is, let's strive to be better people, better human beings in whatever capacity you are in. You could be a father, a mother, whoever you are. Thrive to be a better person. Work on yourself to be a better person to everybody.
Yeah.
Try. When you're good to yourself, it's easy to
spread that,
Exactly.
to spread that to others.
It comes from within. Yeah. So let's strive to be better.
Yeah.
Let's work on being better.
That's it from us today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this episode and have gotten a few gems. Thank you so much for being here and listening until the end. If you're watching on YouTube, mwah, thank you for being here watching us.
Thank you.
And I know we have changed the setup a bit. We have moved, so we are still playing around with the setup. And if you're listening, don't forget to follow us on whichever podcast platform you're listening in. And don't forget to rate us. Don't forget to like for YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.